Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So I was out shopping the other day and I found a figure that I actually have coming to me in the mail. It should be shipping next week, but I was so excited about the way that it looks. I've been really excited to review this line that I went ahead and picked this one up so I could do it straight away, and I cannot wait to talk about this figure. Today we're going to be looking at the vintage Spider-Man Gwen Stacy. So for those of you who don't know, while we take a look at Gwen here, Hasbro has produced a vintage Spider-Man line that comes on an awesome vintage card. We'll be looking at those a little bit closer when I get the whole line of figures in. But it includes Gwen Stacy here, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the Green Goblin, Electro, and Daredevil. So it is an incredibly cool looking, so collectible line of figures. First of all, they all have just this incredible vintage look, but in addition to that, the packaging is so iconic that almost every Spider-Man collector, like myself, Spider-Man is my favorite character, will have to buy two. You've got to open these because, as you'll see, they're great figures, but you're gonna wanna hang the card on your wall because it just looks so good. So I found Gwen and I couldn't wait, even though I should be getting my figures next week, and now we're gonna dive in and talk about her. So this figure, as you can see, these are all the regular 1/12 6-inch figures. I don't think there's anything particularly unique about the figures. I did notice on this one that we have pinless elbows, and I was trying to harken back to other figures. I know that pinless joints are coming up. They were advertised on the Old Man Hawkeye that's coming up soon on Hasbro's website. So I know that pinless joints are coming up, and with this Gwen, I noticed that her elbows were pinless, which I feel like has not been the case in the past. Her knees are pinned joints, so it seems a little strange that they would do half and half. But that is something that I noticed, and when we get to articulation, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Her accessories are her little satchel, her school satchel. I think this might actually be her work satchel. A daily bugle, which is rolled up right here. Oh, I've got it upside down. Here we go, the daily bugle. And her Midtown High School notebook. So these accessories are incredibly adorable. They suit the character, although I will say they're not very functional, and we'll get into that when we look at her a little bit closer too. The final accessory that she comes with is a red-haired head, which is, despite what it may seem like, not a Mary Jane head. This is a Gwen Stacy head. It is not one that I'll use, but it is a nice looking head, and I can see actually making use of this. When I saw it and I saw how beautiful the hair was and the detail that they put into dry brushing the hair, which is something I've been talking about a lot lately because I've been looking at the McFarlane DC figures, and they always do that, and it's great to see that happening now more in these Hasbro toys. It looks really beautiful, so I think that I might use this head actually with my Stepford Cuckoos. I think that she will give a little bit more depth to that line of characters. So I'm going to see how that looks, but I probably won't use it for Gwen because Gwen is blonde-haired to me, and I feel like it just muddies the waters to try to make her red-haired without thinking that she's Mary Jane. So getting right into the points of articulation with this figure. First of all, I want to talk about, we'll start at the head and we'll sort of do the design and the articulation at the same time because those are all fit together in this discussion. Her facial sculpt is stunning. It is absolutely perfect. There's no one else that it could be, from her hair to her headband, her awesome retro cat eye eyeliner, her makeup. They left literally no detail to chance. And she also, even as a blonde-haired figure, which typically we just get a flat yellow, they went ahead and did the dry brushing and gave depth, high and low lights to her hair. She's absolutely perfect. When I look at this figure, I can't see anyone but Gwen, and that's what I want. when I'm buying my favorite figures from my favorite series. So I'm really, really pleased and impressed with the way that her facial sculpt looks. Now this is fangirl stuff. When I'm talking about articulation, I just want to get that right out there. As a huge Spider-Verse fan, when I see a Gwen Stacy figure, I know that she's Gwen Stacy, but we also know that Spider-Gwen comes into play in other universes, in other timelines, and I still want my Gwen Stacy to be highly and functionally articulate. Whether that's reasonable or not, I don't know. I know that this particular iteration of old school Gwen, pre-death of Gwen Stacy, she wasn't. I just want it. So as a fan, that's sort of what I'm looking for, and I'm not 100% sure this figure entirely delivers. We can see straight off the bat that with the hair here, we're not gonna get a full forward and back motion of the head. So I knew that, I expected that. With the red head, with the front sort of pieces that she has, those tend to make it even worse, because if the head tips forward, you have like a really pronounced like ducktail sticking out. So I think it's better if the hair all lies together over the shoulders. At least then you can get a consistent look, but you can see that this is as far as the head looks up. So I'm never going to be 100% happy with a head that doesn't move all the ways that it should. And here's her looking down, which is significantly better. And really, to tell you the truth, it doesn't look that bad from the back. So the forward motion is good, the backward motion not so much. And it's a little tough to get the full range of motion all the way around with the collar of her coat. So the rest of the points of articulation that we're going to be talking about in the upper body are very much affected by her outfit, which I'm sort of torn on because it's 6 of 1 for me on this. You can't have Gwen Stacy, a vintage classic Gwen Stacy, in anything but this outfit. So this is the outfit that she has to have, and the clothing is perfect. She's rendered perfectly, beautifully. Like just standing, she looks exactly the way that she should. But you can see all of the ways in which this outfit is going to hinder our points of articulation. So right away with the turning of the head, we have the collar interfering. We don't have a lot of interference with the arms. So we have like a nice lateral movement here. The elbows bend well, not all the way. It's really sort of one joint, one bend here, which might be why we have the pinless articulation, because they didn't try for a double joint. And her wrists move back, which you can see like this. And they move forward, like this. What I'm sure you're noticing straight away with this when I look at the wrists is the very unusual hand modeling that they chose for this figure. Now, the hands are modeled to hold her accessories, which are, again, her satchel, her notebook, and her newspaper. But the hand positions are, we'll just say, unfortunate. So this is a very like caster type looking hand, but it, you know, they made the fingers sort of separated and pointed out so that you could grip the top of the notebook between the thumb and the forefinger, but the fingers end up looking really long, like unusually long. So I kind of have weird feelings. I get why they did that, so that you could use those accessories, but the problem is that they don't really grip very well. So you have to be really kind of focused on turning her wrist in a particular way and using her hip to sort of balance the notebook and the satchel in order to get her to hold it there. And without it, she just has this incredibly long-fingered, strangely posed hand that doesn't seem to suit the character. And then the bugle hand, we can see is sort of a sword grasping hand, really with the bugle in her hand or without. It's just an odd vibe. I'm not really happy with the hands, and I'm not really happy with the fact that they didn't give us just a set of relaxed hands to go with it. But the articulation in the arms is fine. So when we get to the torso here, now we're gonna really start to see how the costume or the outfit is affecting her, her articulation. So her upper body should be able to lean back, and it does. We do get a little bit of that gap. It does lean back, you can see that, slightly. But the reason that it's bouncing back, although there is another, there is a little bit more range there, is because of the costume. So it's fused up, it's under her neck and hair. The hair starts to smash it down, it mashes up against her thighs, and then it pushes the upper body forward. So we can't get the backward leaning. The forward leaning is a little bit better, but it's still not very much. She has a 360-degree turn in her waist, which is great. We have on the right side a slit in the skirt that allows for at least the right leg to go out, which is great, but we don't have that on the left side. So we can't get that motion on the left. This is as far as we can go there. But with the right leg, you can see that we have a 360-degree turn in the thigh. I'm gonna try to show that a little bit more clearly right here. We have double jointed knees that work when the thigh is out. Under the skirt, it gets a little bit hung up under the coat, so you sort of have to have her like this to get the full advantage of the knee. We have no turning on the ball and socket joint. We have no turning in the boot, or what I guess is like her knee-high sock. We just have the forward motion here of the foot and the backward motion. It looks like that. So where that becomes an issue with me is going back to me talking about how I'm a fangirl of Spider-Man and Spider-Verse and Spider-Man characters. Gwen Stacy is a news reporter and a high school student. So she doesn't really need to be highly articulate to look appropriate on the shelf and to be able to create a scene with her. However, we all know about Spider-Gwen, we all know about Ghost Spider, we all know about all the different iterations of Gwen that we get to see further down the line, and I really want a figure that I can imagine that with, even though she's just Gwen Stacy. So I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm a little disappointed that her outfit hinders her range of motion so much, that the articulate points don't fully articulate because of all of the vinyl weighing her down. All of that said, she does fundamentally do what she should. Her accessories are cute, and even though they look a little bit funny and are a little bit difficult to manipulate, and her hands are designed only for them, they do look good all together when she's holding them and when she's using them. At the end of the day, as a Spider-Man fan, this figure is awesome, and I love her, and I do not have, I think, another female figure that is as satisfying for me as this Gwen Stacy is. Partially because I'm a massive Spider-Man fan, but partially because she does what she's supposed to do, which, granted, isn't very much for this particular character, but is satisfying overall when you look at her on a shelf. So that is the story about Gwen Stacy. I'm really, really excited seeing this figure and having her in hand finally about what we can expect from the rest of this vintage line, even down to the detail of her unclasped belt, in her trench coat, as I talked about before, her headband, the dry brushing in her hair, the gorgeous, gorgeous facial sculpt. I think everything about this figure speaks very highly for what we can expect from the rest of the line. So I can't wait to show those to you guys in the next couple days. I'm so excited to have my first ever Electro. That is a character that I've been wanting to add to my collection forever, so I'll probably do him first. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this vintage Spider-Man line if you've gotten your figures yet. I know that pre-orders are still going to be rolling out over the next couple of months. This is the only one I've seen in a store, so I'm really interested to know what people who are getting their hands on these are thinking. If you're excited, let me know. If you think there leaves something to be desired, if you're like the fangirl side of me who really wants my Gwen Stacy to be able to strike some poses, let me know about that, and I will talk about all of the figures when they come in. Stay tuned for the next few days. I'm going to start my Age of Apocalypse line and talk about some issues that I had with the Bat figure itself. I will be looking at all of your comments, your suggestions. I'm super grateful for everything you guys do for me, watching my videos, liking, commenting, sharing. It means the world. I'm super grateful, and if you let me know what you want to see, I will do it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.